On this day in history, July 5, 1971, the 26th Amendment to the United States Constitution was certified, granting suffrage to citizens age 18 years and older. Prior to the adoption of this amendment, the voting age in the U.S. was 21. Various public officials had supported lowering the voting age during the mid-20th century, but were unable to gain the legislative momentum necessary for passing a constitutional amendment. Senator Harley Kilgore began advocating for a lowered voting age in 1941. President Dwight D. Eisenhower, in his 1954 State of the Union address, became the first president to publicly support prohibiting age-based denials of suffrage for those 18 and older. The drive to lower the voting age from 21 to 18 grew across the country during the 1960s and was driven in part by the military draft held during the Vietnam War. Common slogan of proponents of lowering the voting age was "Old enough to fight, old enough to vote." In 1970, Senator Ted Kennedy proposed amending the Voting Rights Act of 1965 to lower the voting age nationally. On June 22, 1970, President Nixon signed an extension of the Voting Rights Act of 1965 that required the voting age to be 18 in all federal, state, and local elections. Oregon and Texas challenged the lowering court, and the case came before the Supreme Court in 1970 as Oregon v. Mitchell. In Oregon v. Mitchell, the Supreme Court considered whether the voting age provisions Congress added to the Voting Rights Act in 1970 were constitutional. The court struck down the provisions that established 18 as the voting age in state and local elections. However, the court upheld the provision establishing the voting age as 18 in federal elections. On March 10, 1971, the Senate voted 94-0 in favor of proposing a constitutional amendment to guarantee the minimum voting age could not be higher than 18. On March 23, the House of Representatives voted 401-19 in favor of the proposed amendment. The proposed 26th Amendment was then sent to the state legislatures for their consideration. Ratification was completed on July 1, 1971, after the amendment had been ratified by 38 states. On July 5, 1971, the Administrator of General Services, Robert Kinzig, certified its adoption.